And I just saw this light like with my bare eyes, and I was like flipping out. As soon as I saw it, I felt like it could see all the way into my heart and my soul. And I was like scared to be seen because I was like, I'm still hiding a lot of myself. I've been doing a lot of healing, but I was like, whoa, like I'm really scared. And I told the light to go away over and over again. Not like it was a mean light. It was very loving and nice, but I was like scared to be seen. Like I felt like I wasn't ready. And when I told it, I was like, go away, I'm scared, go away. And then I felt tingling come in my head as I said after I said that, and it started spreading. And I was like, this is a super weird headache, but it felt really loving and peaceful. I remember I looked at my boyfriend next to me, like, is he having this headache? What a weird headache.
Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Nella, and welcome to my podcast, Ethereality. This video is going to be a bit different than most of the other videos on my channel. And yes, there will be video footage. I've gone about my usual production. However, at the end of the conversation, I receive an angel reading. For the entirety of the reading, there is video footage and a special treat at the end. I'm so excited to share this with you. If you love my content, don't forget to hit that like button and please subscribe. Today's guest is Rebecca Kastl. She had a spiritually transformative experience, a number of spiritually transformative experiences that added up to this beautiful perspective and person that she is today. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Why don't you start by telling us about your spiritually transformative experience, or in other words, STE?
Okay, I'm excited to tell you about it. So my experience was a near-death-like experience that happened while I was living my regular life when I was in my 20s. It was a spiritually transformative experience that started when I was 26. Prior to that time, I had been on a healing journey. I'd had a trauma at age 13 that I was trying to heal from. I'd gone to therapy, and eventually therapy had dismissed me like, you're fine. You don't really need therapy anymore. You're doing great. You're functioning in the world. I love therapy, but at the time I was like, I don't feel like I'm great. I know there's still something wrong. It felt like something was on top of my heart. And I remember at age 23, just thinking about life, thinking about what I'd gone through, and just being like, I just want to heal all the way. I'm not going to focus my life on anything else besides healing all the way. As soon as I set that intention, I started meeting people to help me. So I met a Reiki teacher. I didn't believe in Reiki. I'd been raised really skeptically, but I would go to her and feel better. I knew I was healing some deeper parts of me that therapy hadn't reached. I also met a yoga teacher during that time, and she started teaching me yoga. I did like 5 days a week of Ashtanga because I'd been having trouble sleeping and not feeling very balanced. So both of those things were really helping. I was committed to my healing journey. I was still working a job, but this was just kind of my internal world that I was doing. And then at age 25, I moved to New York. And in January of my first year there, I was in graduate school at Teachers College at Columbia University. I was doing great. But in January, I'd had like a little flu or an illness. And while I was sick, I was reading The Tunnel and the Light by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. And both of those things, I think, really affected me, got into my psyche in a way, because as I was getting better, I was writing in my journal. And on my healing journey, I'd started writing my journal, Dear God, blah, blah, blah. I would just write, Dear God, and just write whatever was going on in my life. So that journal entry that night that started my STE, I was writing like, Dear God, I'm in school, life is good. And then I felt like I got taken over by a feeling. Some people call it the Holy Spirit, but whatever it was, I was crying. I just devoted my life to God in writing. I wrote, Dear God, I have decided to give my life to you. And I wrote, give my life in all caps and whatever that entails. I want to be guided by you, by the light. This is my pledge. I will work hard to follow this path and bring it to fruition. Please help me do this. Please help me bring light to other people. Thank you. Amen. And then I kept writing in my journal, and then I like closed it and went to bed. I just wrote that. I didn't think anything was going to happen after it. I didn't really mean to write that. I wasn't planning to do that. But that night when I went to bed, a light came over my bed, and it came from one end of the room to right over me. It was a beautiful white light, sentient, and could see into my heart and my soul, and like really loved me.
Did you actually see it, like with your eyes?
With my eyes.
Wow.
I
And you were
saw
awake still?
I was awake. I was getting ready to go to sleep. I had a boyfriend at the time. We were living in Brooklyn. He was asleep. And I just saw this with my bare eyes, and I was flipping out. As soon as I saw it, I felt like it could see all the way into my heart and my soul. And I was scared to be seen because I was like, I'm still hiding a lot of myself. I'd been doing a lot of healing, but I was like, whoa, like I'm really scared. And I told the light to go away over and over again. Not like it was a mean light. It was very loving and nice, but I was scared to be seen. I felt like I wasn't ready. And when I told it, go away, I'm scared, go away. And then I felt tingling come in my head after I said that, and it started spreading. And I was like, this is a super weird headache, but it felt really loving and peaceful. I remember I looked at my boyfriend next to me. Is he having this headache? What a weird headache. And as I relaxed into that feeling, I felt a voice come into my head that said, you don't have to be afraid, but if you are, you can wear a hat. And I put a graduation hat into my mind's eye. It was a very loving voice, very kind. But I was again 26 and I was like, well, that's not a cute hat. Like, here's some other ideas. Like in my brain, I just was like, different hats you could try. Because I was not spiritual. I didn't know that this was a spiritual experience. I didn't know it was a download. Like, I didn't know anything about this. And then the voice stopped. But that was the first night of my experience that continued for the next 2 years. I woke up the next morning. And I remember being like, okay, that was kind of weird, but I was going to class and I just saw light pouring out of everyone. Beautiful ethereal light, like everyone was an angel. They just had the most beautiful heavenly light coming out of them. And I loved each of them so much that I passed and I was like, how did I never notice everyone was so beautiful? Like everyone is an amazing, beautiful angel. And I just was like in awe, like passing people on the way to class. And this was in New York where there's just every kind of person. I was just passing so many people, but loving all of them. A bunch of things happened. One of them was I started seeing light outside of everyone. I started having psychic dreams that started that week. They've continued to this day, but I'd never had dreams like that before. My mom was a psychologist, and I've been raised like every dream you have is about you. But in these dreams, I'd have a dream and then it would come true. I had a dream about a car accident before it happened, a few days before. And these dreams are interesting because in the dream, it's like, I'm just watching the car accident. There it is. Okay, cool. Like totally peaceful. But then when it happens in real life, a hot mess. I'm crying. Everything's bad. But I'm like, oh, that's exactly where the car was in the dream. I've had people ask, like, what about free will? Like, I don't know. I had it a few days before. Like, I don't know how I could have stopped that from happening. It was just like letting me know this was coming up. Friends will come to me in a dream and tell me something that's going on, and it'll happen or it'll turn out to be true in the real world. Just all kinds of little things. And they've been helpful for me. I've gotten guidance from my dreams. They've been really helpful for me. And that was definitely something that was new for me because I'd never had that before. And they've never stopped. Even when my experience ended and I tried to say it wasn't real, those psychic dreams kept going. So that's been one real confirmation, having dreams like that, that it was a real experience.
Tell me about one.
A few years after my experience in it, I was dating this guy and I had a dream we were in the pool together and then he just stopped and just got out of the pool. In the dream, I was like, oh, he's leaving. And then like 3 days later, he's like, we can't date anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it wasn't bad. It was like actually for a good reason. Like
Yeah.
we had a big age difference and it was the right thing. I'd say that my experience was about my very basic life. I don't have dreams that are prophetic about the world. I did have one at the end of my experience, I'll tell you later, but mostly it's relationships. I had a dream about one of my friends coming to me and he's sitting at a table with me and we're speaking Russian because I studied Russian in college. And he was like telling me in the dream, like, I have a Russian girlfriend. And then 3 days later, we're messaging and he's like, I have a Russian girlfriend. Just random stuff like
Just
that.
silly things like that. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Like just little stuff. I had a dream about carbon monoxide poisoning that I got. So anything big that's going to happen to me, I've had dreams about, but I haven't had that kind of big stuff happen lately.
Do you find it exciting when you do experience that?
Yeah, I mean, it is just like, oh, here it's happening now. This is what I dreamt about. And I sometimes don't always know which ones are going to come true, but
Hmm.
most of the time I can tell because they're a little brighter. It's almost like we're all meeting in the dream space. It's nice. It's comforting. It's nice to know that I guess some things that are supposed to happen in our lives. Like, I don't know why I had a dream about the carbon monoxide poisoning that I got and survived. Like, I was a minute from death, but I had a dream about it like 3 or 4 days before it happened. In the dream, I was looking in the mirror, my lungs were bright red, and I had to move out of my house. And I was looking in my bathroom mirror, which is where I like survived and was falling on the floor because I had no oxygen. It was wild.
Do you ever have dreams that are unpleasant and you wake up and you're afraid that those things could come true?
I had really bad nightmares after my trauma that I'll tell you about later, but I did have recently unpleasant dreams because I took melatonin and I realized, but have you ever done that and it like messes up your dreams?
I don't really feel like melatonin's affected my dreams much.
That's good. Okay, that's good because I took melatonin recently and it had. But no, I mean, even if it's something unpleasant, like the car accident, it's not a happy thing to go through a car accident, but it didn't feel unpleasant,
I mean, I've had
really.
nightmares. Yeah. And it almost seems more interesting than scary in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
What do you think the dreamscape is?
I think it's where our souls are. I mean, I do hear that we go out into the astral plane when we're dreaming. I'll just go into my neighbors. So, like, after I had my trauma. And I'd gone to Reiki, I'd gone to therapy, I'd done yoga. I was still having these persistent sleep paralysis nightmares of what I call demons. I was not raised to believe in demons in any way. I would be paralyzed in my body and I would be like either sitting up or just trapped, and these shadowy things would circle me every night from my trauma. Were they real demons? Were they just my trauma? Were they shadow self? Depends on who you talk to. But after I had my light experience, the last nightmare I had like that, I was awakened in the middle of the night and like sitting up outside my body, and this shadowy thing was circling me and trying to poke my heart and like get into my heart. Where every time this had happened before, I'd tensed up and been like terrified and tried to get away. I knew I didn't have to be afraid because I've had this beautiful divine light experience. And I just looked right at it and I was like, you can't hurt me. God lives in me and works through me. And I said that over and over again. You can't mess with me. Like I know that God is with me and or whatever divine love. And it just went away forever. I've never had those nightmares again. I had them from like 13 to 26. So it was a super long time and then they never came back. So, I mean, I think that that was part of my traumatized self. It was so spiritually traumatized. Nothing else was going to fix it except for like getting to know God
Yeah,
or the light.
absolutely. I was raised Christian, and so I was always taught that there are demons, angels and demons, and
Right.
that you have power over the demonic entities, right? So, because I was taught that growing up, and then after finding myself, I guess, connecting to God and writing a narrative of my faith that is my own and not
Mhm.
just what was spoon fed to me, I definitely carried over you have power over demonic entities
That's
into
cool.
this new narrative of the lens which I view life through. I have encountered demonic spirits
Yeah.
through dreaming. Yep. And
Wow.
sometimes just the transition between awake to sleep. I believe I've physically seen one in my
Dang.
bedroom at one point. But every time that I encounter them with a confidence of I have power over you
Hmm.
and that I am protected divinely.
And then
And
do they go away?
oh, yeah.
That's so beautiful that you knew that. I mean, I was just terrified for so long and I wasn't raised to believe in any of that and yet it was happening to
Mm.
me. So I don't know what that says, what's real or not. Everyone has a different opinion, but I know I got it to go away with knowing God was with me and I didn't have to be afraid.
I know a lot of people have been shamed for the fact that they have experienced demonic entities and attacks and stuff like that because in the Christian world too, it's like if you're a good person, if you're doing things right, you're not going to be affected by demonic spirits. And I've heard this actually from somebody who had a personal experience with this. I never did, but I know that there are people that will be like, well, then what are you doing wrong that's creating this,
That's so
like,
sad because mine happened
yeah,
because I was super traumatized. I'd like
yeah,
experienced horrible trauma and then got nightmares from it. That's sad that people would blame someone for that, but I wasn't
yeah,
raised Christian, so I don't know.
yeah. I'm glad you didn't receive that kind of judgment, but I know some people do. And honestly, you're not doing anything wrong.
No,
It's simply just that there are these entities out there. They're out there and they feed on low vibrations,
like
fear,
fear.
and
Oh, they loved
yeah,
my fear. They were always around my fear.
yeah, yeah, all those lower
Yeah.
energies. It's like that faith and that confidence in your power, they go away because they can't reach that level, you know?
Yeah, it was so beautiful when it finally went away. I mean, I was so thankful to have that beautiful light experience. I also, speaking of demons and angels, I started feeling angels around me. That's another thing that happened during those 2 years. So basically, for those 2 years, I felt really surrounded by angels and light. And that's when I got my nightmares to go away. But also, I remember I was going to sign up to study abroad and I picked up the pen because I was in grad school the whole time I was going through this. And I felt two tall angels on either shoulder telling me without words, like I shouldn't study abroad. And I've heard since then, like other people say, angels are really tall. Okay, they're really tall and they don't want me to do the study abroad program. So I didn't. I've seen little angels since. That's how I do my angel readings. I've learned how to connect with them. They're all around
Little
all of us. Once when I was really calm during my experience, I saw like this rainbow, sparkly, shiny angel. I don't know if it's an angel. It's like a pretty light rainbow. But it is interesting. I feel like they're always around all of us, but my experience showed it to me and I felt them and saw them. And then that's how I do my readings. Because when I do my readings and like the angel messages I get, I'm like, I'm feeling that same feeling I had during my experience. One of the interesting things, I had like a mini life review while I was going through this. I didn't know that I was affecting people at all. I didn't know anything about near-death experiences at the time.
I want to hear that in detail. My brother, he had a miniature life review too, but it was very specific things. It wasn't just all of your life. It was highlighting something that he needed to understand in that moment, which was
Interesting.
what kicked off his
Oh,
spiritually transformative experience.
it wasn't as detailed. I was talking to my sister and I realized I had hurt her feelings. I had no idea I'd hurt her feelings. I'd been careless with her. And as I was talking with her, it like almost punched me in my heart. Oh my God. I felt her pain. I felt how much it really affected her. And I had no idea. We'd been sisters forever and I'd hurt her before. Not that I didn't care. I didn't feel like what it made her feel. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I don't want to ever do that again. I don't want ever want to hurt another person again. And just like also feeling like what a difference it makes when we're kind to people, how important it is. It's been a huge part of my life since then. But I just remember really noticing, feeling in my body and my soul how much it hurt my sister to do that. And she didn't even really say anything, but I could just feel it.
I
She
like that
didn't.
you consider that a life review because a lot of people who have life reviews during near death experiences, they talk about how one of the most profound aspects of having a life review is not only being able to see and feel every experience that you're having throughout it, but being able to also, from a multidimensional perspective, enter into the experience of the other people involved and feel what they were feeling and their thoughts and why their behaviors
It's
and
wild.
actions were justified and everything in their entire life that had led up to the cultivation of the viewpoints that they were arguing or whatever it was,
Right.
giving you
So
this
true.
like overall view of this other person's experience and your experience as well. It gives
Yeah.
you so much more compassion and empathy, that being one of the main aspects of 90% of the life reviews I've heard about.
Yeah. It's
It's
wild.
like, yeah, I definitely can see how in that moment you had connected to her in that
I felt it.
capacity
It was like,
and
oh, shoot.
felt all of that. That's
I
amazing.
never want to do that again. Ever since then, I've been like, how can I be kind? Always just wanting to bring kindness to strangers and others. Not perfect. I have to kind of stay tuned in with all that light. Otherwise, so we get grumpy and yeah.
How are you kind to yourself?
That's been a huge part of my journey because I was not very kind to myself. I think telling my story is a big act of kindness for myself and integration for myself because
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you for having me on. I'm kind to myself when I like take care of my body. Before, when I was traumatized, I didn't really take care of myself at all. Having loving friendships, but I do like self-care, meditating and taking salt baths and whatever else.
Yeah, so I have heard more than one person actually
Yeah.
mention that one thing that they learned from being on the other side was that when you are kind to yourself, you're kind to all. When you are kind to all, you are kind to yourself.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
that there's no real distinction between them and you. Rather, the impact that you can have, whether that's outside of yourself or within yourself, is going to affect the collective.
That's so true. Yeah. I love that because we're all one. And,
Mhm.
we are each like individuated people having experiences of the divine and the physical realm. But I mean, once I saw all that light in people, it just felt like everyone was my sister and my brother. And like, I just loved people too much sometimes. I was like gushing at my friends, like, you're amazing. You're so great. Like, it is really a beautiful thing.
I mean, you've brought up a number of times now when you were traumatized. Did
Yeah.
you mention exactly what it was that caused your trauma?
I mean, I can go into it. I don't really share publicly, but I had a sexual assault when I was 13. That was
Okay.
really painful.
Did you blame
Basically,
yourself a lot for it?
yeah, they blamed me. It was four people over me, and I woke up in the middle of it on the floor.
Rough.
It was awful. I thought it was my fault, and I got extremely depressed. I wanted to die. They bullied me and called me names, and yeah, I thought it was my fault, and I didn't tell anyone.
How do you feel like you've integrated that experience now? Because you said when I was traumatized, you spoke in past tense.
Yeah, because it kind of became almost like a great lesson, a great learning experience for me.
Tell me about
Um,
that.
I know you've had Betty Guadagno, my friend, on. Like she saw our pre-life, pre-birth plan. And I'm only speaking for me, but I do feel like this was something that was kind of meant to happen in my life. There was nothing I could have stopped it. The fact that I woke up in the middle of it, like I don't even know how I got there, basically. But, I have had to work on a lot of forgiveness for men, a lot of relearning like sacred sexuality and like loving my body I thought I was super ugly. The first time someone told me I was pretty because I'd been bullied so badly, I thought they were making fun of me.
Oh my
It's
gosh, you
like,
are gorgeous.
well, I thank you. But I mean, in my 20s and like my
Yeah.
high school years, and this happened when I was 13, and they kind of took that from me in a way, but at the same time, it helped me know I was more than just my body.
Yes.
And it didn't make me get too attached to how I looked. I did a lot of therapy. I did inpatient treatment for survivors of sexual trauma when I was in college in the summer. I was very thankful to have that experience because it helped me heal a lot. But, it's a lifelong journey. I've forgiven and I do a lot of work with men now, honestly. I have a lot of male clients, love helping them. And I think there's a lot of wounded men out there. And I had to learn that not all men are. I actually have never talked about this on a
I'm
podcast,
actually
but
grateful that you are. I think that it's really helpful. I mean, what you said to me in the beginning of
yeah,
this was that you're excited for me to be vulnerable
yeah.
because
Oh,
that helps other people feel comfortable in their
mm,
vulnerability.
yeah. You're right. It's easier to tell someone else that though. But no, I'm happy. I mean, I think many women have been through sexual trauma and I mean more women than we even know. And
I
so if
have. So,
you have, I'm so sorry.
well, but at the same time, we look at these things and, they look like bad things.
Yeah.
But fast forward, this has made such a profound impact on you in a
Hmm.
positive way.
Hmm.
And so, like you said, you feel like it was meant to be a part of your path because without that experience, you wouldn't be the person you are today.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, I don't think that any experience we endure is bad. Who knows what's
Yeah.
good or bad? Ultimately, those are just futile judgments that we put on things. Some of the hardest things to endure turn out to be the best things for us. And some of the
Yeah.
things that we think are just laced in shimmery gold, this is a
Yeah.
gift from God, turns out to
Yeah.
be like, oh goodness.
That's
No,
such a good
it
point.
was definitely not.
Yeah, that's so true. And now, I mean, and honestly, when I was going through my STE, I was working still with a lot of healers, and I don't think I would be able to do the healing because I do readings and healings for people. Like, I'm able to really meet people in the places that they're in because of the place I've been in, and I've pulled myself out, and I feel like I can help them pull themselves out. So I couldn't have learned what I learned from my trauma in a book. I had to just go through it and live it. So thank you for
Mhm.
creating a safe space for me to talk about that since I've never talked about that before on a podcast. So thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I felt like you needed to, considering you talk so confidently about how you were with the trauma.
I was like, the trauma, the
The
end, the
trauma, the
end.
trauma,
That's
the
because
trauma.
also I don't want to traumatize other people. Like I've told healers details of what I went through and they burst into tears. I don't want to make other people get traumatized by what I've already healed from for years.
It's the way that they relate to the experience that
Mm.
leads somebody to tears. If you can help somebody get in touch with
Yeah,
that within themselves, then
yeah,
that's productive, whether they're outwardly crying or
that's true.
hiding it or suppressing or whatever, because
Yeah,
being in touch with our emotions is something that we are consistently like having to learn how to be. We aren't taught in elementary school what it means to be in touch with your emotions, or sometimes people have the lighthearted guidance of sit with your emotions. Okay, but like, what does that mean?
I know.
It's just something I think that we're collectively recognizing needs
Yeah,
more focus
yeah,
on learning and growing and developing in as like a collective.
yeah.
So you have since then integrated the lessons that you had learned from the trauma.
Yeah, I definitely have. And it's almost like I'm always learning from it in a way. But yeah, I've definitely integrated it and I've reached like a really healthy place. And I don't know. Some of the greatest work I do is not only with sexual trauma survivors, because so many women I work with, but also like creating a space for men to be authentically, emotionally, spiritually themselves. I'm very thankful for being able to teach and also do readings and healings for everybody.
Especially men, because we were talking about being out of touch with our emotions as children, as young boys. It's like, oh, don't be a sissy girl. Like, don't cry
Mhm.
about that. Like, men
Mhm.
don't cry. Men are
Yeah,
strong,
right.
so they learn from a very young age to suppress and be out of
So
touch with their
hard. And I think
emotions.
about my little nephews and if they were told that not to cry or like they get made fun of by their friends, makes me sad. So yeah, I mean, so thankful because I do love all the work I do, but I feel like the work I do with men is really important
It
because,
is.
it's a healing for both of us. My Reiki teacher told me like in the beginning when I told her what happened, she was like, that was a trauma for everyone in that room. Because not only were there the There was a bunch of people watching, and there was me, and it was like everyone was getting traumatized. We're acting out some horrible scenarios that were in the culture. I just woke up in the middle of it. Even the people that did it, like they don't want to act that way. I don't think that they wanted to do that. I think that's like
No.
their basis nature, and I've made a lot of peace with. I just hope they went to therapy. I don't know if they did. Thank you for this holding that space. If anybody hears this and wants to reach out for healing or talking, you can find me. I would love to work with you. I consider myself part of a full picture of healing. So obviously therapy is important and whatever other supports you need. But if you need that spiritual side, I'm here for you. I'm going to just finish the last couple of things that happened in my
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely.
I saw an alternate timeline in my life during those 2 years. Basically, I opened my computer to write about not my spiritually transformative experience, not about my healing journey. And as I opened my computer, I saw my whole life flash before my eyes. If I did that, it was like I lived that whole life. And it was like watching the movie, and in the movie, I saw the book getting published to bad reviews. I saw how dejected I would feel. I saw myself kind of dying a sad, lonely death. And then I was like, whoa, okay, like I'm not going to do that. And I just closed my computer. Now I know I'm supposed to share and talk about and write about this, but I didn't know that at the time. It was just wild. It was just like, and here's what's going to happen if you do that. So ever since then, I've felt how much my life will change based on what I choose, like different timelines. I can feel them a little bit. So that's been a little overwhelming. When I choose one thing, it's almost like I can feel how my life is going to change. So I have to be aligned with my heart to go on the right timeline.
That makes me think of parallel dimensions.
Yes.
And I've heard people say, like, jumping timelines. I actually was talking with a friend recently. He had the similar experience where, in just like a single moment, was able to see the trajectory of a certain decision and
Yeah.
decided to choose the other route instead.
Wow.
And he said that it happened, I don't know, a handful of times,
Hmm.
just very quickly. And if you can see the future and the path of that outcome, does it already exist? Especially considering the fact that time outside of this dimension,
Yeah.
past, present, and future, all simultaneously exist. So if there are multiple different paths that we can take that all simultaneously exist, then that would mean that there are parallel dimensions,
Yeah, that is.
right?
Yeah, I think that there are. I think honestly, I do think all these timelines are happening at the same time, and we choose which one we tune into. I've heard about people jumping timelines. I don't know if I've really done that, but I think we're just experiencing the one we're in now.
Can I share a poem I wrote with you?
Yeah, I would love to hear it.
So I wrote this poem in 2022. We are connected, probably in a way that surpasses human comprehension, mystical of some sort. A past life, maybe? A possible direction in the quantum where time does not exist, like a parallel or a life not chosen, but still lived.
Oh, I love that.
A life not chosen, but still lived suggests that it exists in the quantum somehow,
Yeah,
in a parallel dimension. Or actually, let me read the caption that I added to that because I think
I'd
it's
love to hear
quite,
it.
it like kind of fleshes out what I meant. When you find out that person you liked had feelings for you too, but you found out after they were in a relationship with the one they would soon marry. When you remember that close friend you kissed on a bridge in high school, but you made everything weird and distant. Those what if moments with people we deeply admired. There very well may be a version of reality where the alternatives were chosen, where those momentary fantasies manifested into a parallel of their own, to nod in approval of their existence and to feel a comfort in our spirit for the path we have chosen is a new kind of acceptance, a love for all timelines and parallels, a place born from the conviction to honor the path we have chosen and to give it our all.
That's so beautiful, and I feel like that's extremely profound. I had many of those different friends.
You've
I
witnessed
witnessed that
that.
one. Yeah, actually seeing and living that timeline. Intense, very intense.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
the yeah.
amazing and this is the second time that I've talked about this concept with somebody who had a personal experience of it in just the last few weeks.
Wow. So it's definitely like coming up. I think it's fascinating. And that was the strongest I've ever seen an alternate timeline in my life. But I do think we sense and feel those all the time, like your poem. We're not always seeing it play out. I do think when you go into the other side, you can see those things more. Okay. So this was going on for 2 years. I was like having these psychic dreams that started. I was seeing the light in people. I saw this alternate timeline. And feel these angels. And then at the end, I really thought after this, I was learning all these things and then I was going to go live in heaven as soon as it was over. I was like so pumped. I was going through grad school and I was like, okay, when I finish learning all this stuff and I've like kept it together, I'm going to go to heaven. Sweet, awesome. But I had this dream that ended my experience and I did not go to heaven. I stayed here. The dream was I was in my room talking to this beautiful, glowing person that I now know was an angel. I really thought he was like a real person that I was going to meet for a long time. And I was talking to him saying, like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, life is hard. And he just was like glowing so much and looking at me with so much love, looking deeper and deeper and fully loving me and like saying, life is amazing. You need to go out and have a great life. Go have adventures. It's such a gift to be alive. And he was just so beautiful and amazing. And I was like, what's your name? He was like, my name's Jonathan. And I was like, when am I going to meet you? And he said, you can meet me when you're finished swimming. And then dream shifted from me talking to him in my room to like being on a big ship and getting lowered into the ocean. And then I was having to swim out alone in the ocean by myself. And I woke up the next morning. My whole experience was over. The light pulled back. It felt like everything just was like, psh, okay, peace out. Like, go figure out everything out that just happened to you. And I didn't know what I was doing here. I didn't know why I was here. And it took me this long. Like, I didn't start sharing about this till like 15 years after it happened. Because I was, okay, maybe I made all that up. But if I didn't make all that up, I'm really pissed that I'm still here. I cried a lot. I was like, God, why did you abandon me? And then I would also be like, but I think I'm done swimming like every couple months, first every week or two. And then every couple months, I think I'm done swimming. I'm gonna meet this awesome guy now. No, I'm not going to meet him until I crossed over to the other side, I guess, because he was an angel. I don't know. It was really beautiful. It changed my life. It made me know we're all fully loved and that there's a lot more out there than I ever knew. But it changed my life. That's my whole story.
Do you feel like your misconception that this angel was actually a man that you were going to meet was part of the plan and served you in a way?
Yes. Okay. Now, he was not judging me. I was going through my 20s. Of course, like I was living in New York. Like I thought this was the best boyfriend of all time. No judgment about that. Like it was just like so loving. It was like, will you meet me when you're done swimming? Sweet. And then I think maybe it did because I think that I was supposed to think that he was real for a long time. Maybe. I
Well,
really
because
realized like last year he wasn't real. Finally.
wait, it wasn't real. He was
Like I
real.
thought
He
it was
was
like a
just.
real person that was literally going to meet like in my lifetime.
How did you get confirmation that it was an angel instead?
I did not get confirmation, just so much time kept passing. The other thing that was interesting about it was the light that I saw in him, I saw in everyone. I saw that light coming out of everyone. I remember I would like go on dates with people and be like, wait, this person has the same light that that guy in my dream had. Maybe everybody is that person. Maybe everyone has that light, you know? So it was just very confusing. But I don't know. I didn't get confirmation. I just don't think people normally glow that much and have that much love. Look, if I meet him, I will come back on your podcast and talk about
I love that idea.
but I
Well,
don't, I think everybody is that beautiful. I was just like, everyone's that guy, every woman and man, every person. It's really
because
cool.
I have had experiences where I felt like I received a spiritual message. I interpreted it a certain way. Because of the way I interpreted it and navigated my life based off of that interpretation, it in turn served me in a
Mhm.
very profound and positive way. But
Mm.
then looking back, I was like, but my interpretation of that was wrong.
Yeah, that's
And
so
I
true.
I think that in terms of spiritual messages and guidances, that sometimes our misconceptions of those messages are actually what we're supposed to know or think that we know
I think you're right. I
in those
totally, that's very
moments.
wise. That's super wise. And I think you're completely correct. It's something I've been kind of like formulating the last week or two. So it's so great you put it that way. I love that. Because if he had said, you'll meet me when you're finished swimming, when you cross over to the other side, I would have known that. He gave me a name, Jonathan. Like some people have wondered if that was Jesus. If he would have said Jesus, I would have known, okay, that's Jesus. It was just like a name, Jonathan. You'll meet me when you're done swimming. And I was like, cool, that could be any day now. But
That's so
it's like,
funny.
I think I was supposed to interpret it that way. I mean, I think divine spiritual experiences happen perfectly in the way that we need to have them to happen. And I think I was meant to, I
Perceive it
guess,
that way.
yeah, I think I was. And I think it kind of, in a way, helped kept me hanging on or made it make sense. I'm going to have to think about that more, but I think that's a really beautiful question. I think you're totally correct.
And then if you look at it that way, you could recognize that you were never wrong
Yeah.
in your interpretation.
Thank you. Well, because
We
I'm always
look
like,
at
I was
it.
such a dumb idiot. Like, I didn't understand that he wasn't like an angel, you know, like,
Unless
but
that was the intention. That was
yeah.
the perception that you
They
needed
knew that
through
I was
that
a
chapter of
28-year-old in
life.
Brooklyn, like that's Like that was my life at that time. So anyway,
Do you remember what Jonathan looked like?
yes, very beautiful. And this is when I've done classes on communicating with your angels with ions. When people have seen angels, I mean, he was completely gorgeous,
What
like
do you look
perfect.
like?
This might be just because of my background, but he had like curly blonde hair, like wavy blonde hair, and like I don't know what color eyes, hazel eyes, and like very good face structure, but so excited, full of excitement and adventure and love. Life is awesome. Like, go have a great life. You're so lucky to be alive. It's so
Yeah.
great, but also like very relatable and real. This is why I thought he was a real person. But I haven't met him in what, 16 years now? I don't think I'm going
hmm
to.
I don't think that spiritual teachers should ever tell anybody about physical feature or
Yeah.
some sort of identifying trait, like his
Yeah.
name being Jonathan, because I was telling you about my spiritual mentor.
Yeah.
She told me that the man that I was going to be with, he was going to be fair haired.
Oh.
And this messed me up.
Oh yeah, that's why I really get careful when I'm giving readings because I always want
Yeah.
people to know, like, look, I'm a human filter. You know what's true for you because you hear something, like I got this download about this angel. Let's go back to the timelines. Like there are different timelines out there. So there might be a timeline where you end up with a man that's fair-haired, but timelines can shift and it won't be. So don't worry about it.
Right.
You'll
That
know in your
is,
heart the right one.
thank you. That is actually very good advice considering how things do shift. I think that destiny is something that is ever changing. However, the events that we want to make an impact on our spirit,
Yeah.
the whole life path thing,
Yeah.
I think those will still come to pass. But the way that we're going to get there is up to us.
I love that.
Well, we should wrap it up.
Yeah, I guess we've been talking a long time. This was amazing. It's been so fun. And thank you for letting me share my story. And I'm so excited to give you an angel reading. I can't
Right.
wait.
Before we do that, let me ask you one question.
Yes.
If you could tell the world one thing, if there was some insight that you
Mhm.
wished people to receive and grow an understanding of,
Okay. Yeah.
what would that message be?
That you're fully loved exactly as you are, and that you have like spiritual helpers and guidance at all times. Even if you feel like you've really lost your way, as I felt before, especially before my STE, the divine is with you. And like you just need to kind of reach your hand out, open your heart a little bit, ask for some help, and you'll get it.
I like that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Okay.
And now we're gonna do a angel reading.
I'm so excited. Okay, so this is what happened during my STE. I got this connection. So I'm really excited to offer this for you. Take a deep breath in and out, and just feel your body in your chair, fully present in your space, with gratitude that you're having this reading today, that you brought yourself here. And I want you to continue to breathe and imagine a beautiful column of white light with golden flecks streaming down from heaven. This light is filled with love and peace and joy. And it's going to come down through our systems. So imagine it coming down through the crown of your head, cleansing your crown chakra, opening it and flowing down through your head, your face, all your brain and your ears. It's coming down through your mouth and your throat. Let it cleanse your third eye, your throat chakra, this beautiful white golden light streaming down your shoulders, your arms, your hands. Let it just fill you up as it goes down from your shoulders through your chest and your heart chakra, opening, cleansing your heart, bringing it back into alignment with love, your true nature. This beautiful light is streaming down through your torso, going through your solar plexus and your sacral chakra, all your inner organs. Let it just flow through you down to your root chakra, your hip area, cleansing and realigning you with love and with peace. And we'll continue to go down through your legs, your ankles and feet. When it gets to your feet, I want you to imagine it coming out the soles of your feet and going all the way down into the center of the earth. Just imagine it going all the way down and connecting to the core of the earth. And once it connects there, it's going to come slowly back up and come back through our bodies. So through your feet and your legs, your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart center, your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown. It'll come back out the crown of your head and go back up to heaven, going through all of your upper chakras as well. And this light will continue to breathe us through this session. And it is your true nature. You can call this back into your awareness at any time, this beautiful column of light. And spend a moment just letting it go anywhere else you feel it needs to go today, using your inner eye to send that light anywhere else you need it. Knowing that it's perfectly healing you, perfectly bringing you into alignment with light and love. Okay, now I want you to bring that light into your heart center once more. And think of something or someone that you're grateful for and allow that light to fill up your heart a little more. And as that light fills up your heart, you're going to allow it to go from your heart to all around you in a beautiful bubble of light. And then it'll continue to go past the bubble to all of space with your heart at the center, this beautiful light. And it's into this space that I'm going to invite NELLA's guides and angels for this session. Thank you for coming and being with us today. Thank you for letting me hear your messages clearly. Help me to be a clear channel for any messages she needs to hear today. And thank you so much for being here. I'll also call in my guides and angels to help me be a clear channel for NELLA and for her path and anything that she needs. And I'll connect my heart to NELLA's heart, to the hearts of those in the spiritual realm in a beautiful circle of love. May this reading be for NELLA's highest and best good and for the highest and best good of all. With love, amen. This is what they're showing me first. So I want you to tell me what, if it's resonating. They're showing me you're doing a great job and they want you to keep doing more. They're like, up it, up it. They're saying you have a lot of big ideas and they want you to keep exploring them. Does any of this resonate? I always just start with what I hear and then I see if it resonates.
Yeah.
Okay, it resonates. Okay, good. And you know, if it doesn't, tell me, but they just are saying you're not too young. I don't know how old you are, but you're not too young to like really explode into your dreams. You know exactly what you need to know, and there's not something more you need to learn. It's your essence is what you're sharing. And well, everything you need to know is within you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading a book called The Kingdom Within,
Oh,
and
cool.
it's about the like inner meaning of what Jesus said. The title, The Kingdom Within. It's like the answers are within all of us.
That's so beautiful. I guess they're just saying also like walk with the great teachers, and I guess that's what you're doing. Yeah, your guides are really strong. Your angels and guides, when they came in, I almost like got fainted a little bit. I was like, these are really strong. I don't know if you felt that before.
I felt that. I've had other people tell me that too. I do have a question.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know that it's more of a confirmation, I guess I'm seeking. But I've heard a lot of other people talk about different guides having names and stuff. I want to know.
Okay, I'm getting goosebumps about this because this is a little different than what I normally do. But have you ever been told that you have like Pleiadian DNA or anything like that?
Um, no, I don't know how is that different than star seeds or
It's
similar?
like star seeds, but I'm feeling a really strong Pleiadian. Like all I heard when you asked that was like Pleiadians. Like that's probably why it felt really strong. Like you do have your earthly angel, like the angels that came with you, but like I think those that walked in when I invited your guides in was kind of like a
The,
galactic light
those are the
workers.
blue, right? That's the blue.
They're really beautiful. They're all here to help humanity heal, but I feel like it's just like galactic light workers as part of your team. And I'll tune in more to your angels because they are definitely here. You have one main guardian angel. I'm getting a male sense of it, though I've heard angels don't have gender and they can show up in other different ways. All I'm hearing is Michael. That could be Archangel Michael. And also, like, if you get a confirmation of your own angel's name, obviously go with that. I'm a human filter and I'm me. But you might have a dream or you might get some kind of confirmation. But I'm definitely getting a Michael, which could be the Archangel. Do you ever talk to him or read anything about him?
Not that much, no. I've referred Archangel Michael to people. who have been
Okay,
like
well,
struggling with spiritual issues and stuff like that. But
that might be why, because even when you're doing that, like he's around you and like it almost makes his energy stronger around you if you're talking about him or thinking about him, even if you're like, oh, I just whatever, I didn't really think about him that much, but like he's in your energy field, which is beautiful. He's awesome. You also have spirit guides. So angels have been never incarnated. They are always the messengers of God and they or the divine, and they are just around. They are always aligned with the divine, and they've never been in the body. And then spirit guides have lived in the human body and have like evolved so much that they now come back to help humans. So we have all different kinds of spirit guides as well. Like if you have an interest, like you'll have a spirit guide for that, but we have like a main spirit guide through your lifetime. And then like, would you consider yourself a spiritual teacher because of the work you do?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you have a guide that's like focused on that aspect of like sharing spirituality, in a way that's relatable.
Yeah, definitely can see that. I trust the flow of the interviews that I do, and
Yeah,
I feel like oftentimes the questions that I ask are not something that I really think about, you
yeah,
know? It's just
yeah.
like inspired thought in the moment.
Like what I'm doing right now, it's
Yeah,
totally that's it.
yeah.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. So you definitely have a guide like that. There's a very female motherly guide. Anyway, we could go on
I've
forever,
heard
but
that
you
before.
have a
Oh
motherly
yeah.
female guide with
Like
you,
like almost like an elderly, motherly kind
but you
of.
don't have a mom on the other side or anything, do you?
No,
Well, it's just
neither of my grandmas have passed
It's just a
away either.
caretaking, lovely. It could be Mother Mary, or it could just be a motherly, beautiful goddess energy.
Hmm.
But all of these are just, they're here with you, they're around you, they're helping you all the time. And when you get a reading like we're doing now, they're just like having a chance to give you the messages that you might have already been feeling. Like you might have been thinking about these different things, like you're reading a book, they want you to hear it again. What I'm hearing right now too is they want you to believe in yourself. Again, I mean, do you ever feel like you're too young to do big, big work in the world?
No,
Okay,
no.
good. They want
Um,
they want you to feel like you can do the big work you want to do, and especially when
if
you're
anything,
staying
I
up.
feel like I'm late.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you must just look really young because I don't think you're very late at all. But
I'm 31.
well, okay, that's also really young.
I
But
know, but I
okay,
like just started January of this year. And I've just been building things for other people for the last decade of my life. And it wasn't until this year that I was like, okay, I'm going to build something for myself.
that's beautiful. Let's see if they have anything to say about that. They're saying everything happens in its right time, and like before now, you were kind of learning a lot of different things and putting a lot of things in understanding for how you wanted it to express in the physical world and also what you wanted to do internally for you. And so now it was like everything came together. But also personally, I'm also thinking like the end of the Saturn return, probably had a lot to do with that.
End of the Saturn return.
Isn't Saturn return like 27 to 29? And then
I'm not sure. If I'm not familiar with that
it's like
aspect of
astrology, but
astrology. Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if it's a real thing, but it is like, and they say by the time you're done with your 20s, like into your 30s, you're able to do the work you need to do.
Seriously, that is so true.
I'm not an astrologer. If you have more questions, get an astrologer on your show because they,
20s are overly glorified.
yeah, and there's a lot going on and
Yeah.
and you're young, but you're like, but everything's very open. But
Hmm. I guess what I was getting at is I got a little excited when you said that there was like a male guide because I feel like I've had this male guide with me, and it's silly that I feel like I need more confirmation because when I was a child, I had these two friends that I would talk to on like the grassy area in the playground when I was at school.
wow,
And I had a best friend that I had known since I was 2 years old, and her and I were like sisters, basically. When I was talking to her about these two friends that I had after we'd grown up, she was like, wait, you're still talking about them? They weren't real. And I was like,
whoa,
what?
are you serious?
Absolutely, they were real
Wow,
because I remember what they look like. Like
I have goosebumps.
they had physical bodies. Like they just looked like all the other kids.
Wow,
And
that's amazing.
and I was I was baffled. I literally went and messaged every person that I went to elementary school with that I could find on Facebook that I could remember their names and sent to them like copy and paste, just like this message of an explanation being like, do you remember these two kids?
You're so brave.
Um,
Do you remember their names?
I
Okay.
do, but that's what I wanted to get confirmation of because I didn't know if they were real or not. Because, of course, after you have this sort of experience and somebody tells you it's not real, it's natural for us to question, was I
And it
remembering?
was two boys.
No, it was a girl and a boy.
I'm feeling like they're like your spiritual siblings in a way. Did you feel like they were brother and sister to you?
They were so inseparable themselves. I'm not sure.
Or friends of yours? Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get their exact names. That's like a super hard skill to do in reading, but
Yeah.
I can try.
And
Let
if
me
you
just
don't
see.
get anything, it's fine. We
I'm
don't
going
even
to
have
tune
to.
into their energy. So when did you stop seeing them as you got older? They stopped coming to the playground, kind of.
Yeah, so I went to the certain elementary school that I saw them at up until third grade. And then I transferred to a different elementary school and I never saw them again. Well, that's not true.
You saw them again?
I
Like one
saw
time?
one time, I saw him. I was at a park with a friend of mine, and he came like walking out of the woods on a path, and he was way across the park.
Oh.
But I saw him immediately and I recognized him like energetically
Hmm.
because this was years after I had
Had he
seen.
grown your age with you? Because I
Yeah,
was getting that they were growing up with you.
yeah.
That's really cool. Ooh, I have goosebumps. Wow.
But even though I had been so many years since I had seen him, even though he was across the park, I looked at him and I said, that's him.
Did he wave? What did he do?
Yes. Yes, he was
Oh,
looking directly at me and he waved and then he like kept walking in the woods and was gone and I never saw him again.
that's so beautiful. He walked out of the woods. I am so excited for that because it really does. I'm going to tune into both of these.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like they're almost like guardian angels in a way, and they were able to approach you in the way that you could see them. Um, okay, I don't know if this resonates, but I'm getting almost like this might be your first Earth lifetime. Like I am getting that you have like star lineage, and that was like they came to make sure you were going to be comfortable and this like very difficult planet. And they were here to like help you adjust. And what they're also saying is like the angels are around every kid. Um, and not every kid is, they're told to be quiet or they're told to stop. But it seems like your school was like a safe place for you, the playground, especially. So they were able to kind of get through to a place where you could see and feel them. Um, and it was more like just joyful childhood, like they made you laugh or that you would talk about things and it was just fun and free and sweet and simple, like that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But did they ever come to you at your house?
No.
Yeah. I think I don't know, I'm maybe your heart was a little more open in school at the playground and it was just easier for them to like communicate with you.
That would make sense.
It would, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, if they were not human,
yeah. They're saying they're real, but they didn't have physical bodies.
which is wild because they had physical bodies. Like
But did you ever
I,
high five them or touch them or do circles with them or
I don't remember.
yeah, that would be hard.
I like every time I think about it and I go back to the memories of spending time with them, I felt like I spent a lot of time with them, but the only thing that we did was like stand in the grass and visit. Like I never played on the rings with them. We never played soccer. Like it was always just, and then to think back about that, it's like,
That's true. They probably couldn't swing on the rings with you because they were not in physical form. But they can stand on a grassy knoll, and that is a very like grass and nature is much easier for us like, angel the vibration's just higher. Who knows? That's so beautiful. They want you to know they're still here with you, they're around you, and they think it'd be a good exercise for you to write down the things that you remember about them. Have you ever done that?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, just you can do it in your computer, like open a Word document or get a journal and just write down the different things you remember they said, the different things you did, just while you're thinking about it. And they want you to know they're as real as anyone else, and they kind of came to help you keep your joy. So that's really beautiful.
It's emotional.
I mean, I can't imagine how shocking that must have been for your friend to tell you that they weren't real.
Yeah, that was shocking. It's still shocking. Like, but what's crazier is I have kind of a spiritual mentor that I was visiting down in California,
Hmm.
and we had a hotel room that we were staying in, and she was laying down, and she asked me if this name rings a bell, and I was like,
Was
"That's
it the
his.
name of one of your, was
That's
it, did it have an
his.
A in it? All I got was an A. No.
No,
Okay.
no."
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess they just don't want me to solve the mystery. I don't know.
well,
Maybe I'm just asking for too much confirmation.
no, you're not. Names are just like once I start trying to fixate on something, and this is what my teacher teaches, like you can get lost in the fixation of getting a name. And sometimes I get names really good,
Hmm.
sometimes I don't get them at all. And so once I start focusing too much,
Yeah, it's kind of like how you have to let go to find something, you know?
yeah. So like maybe when we're done recording, I'll try to sit there and see if I can get it. Maybe a J name, but if I don't get it, then it's like I don't want to fixate on it. I just know that like what I'm getting about them is that they were like your guardian angels for like a hard time. I don't know if your childhood was difficult, but it sounds like they were helping you find like some peace from
Yeah, it was it was all right.
yeah.
I mean, a broken home is the best it could have been for that. But yeah, so
Wow.
I was with my spiritual mentor, and she's like, I'm getting this name. Does that ring a bell? And it was just like out of the blue. We were like laying on the separate beds and we were both kind of
Wow.
meditative state. And I look over, I was like, that's the boy's name from my childhood,
Whoa.
the one that I saw at the park.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
And she also at that same time mentioned like a elderly motherly kind of energy
Wow.
with me as well.
She sounds like an awesome spiritual teacher. I'm glad you have her. That's really
Yeah.
great.
And I literally just kind of in that moment just kind of fell apart because I felt like that was a confirmation I was looking for. And I think it's interesting that we get the confirmation and then as time goes by, it's like we start to doubt it and we like want more confirmation.
That's hard. I know. I mean, even my spiritual experience, like I didn't believe it for a long time, so I understand. And I really am getting they want you to write down everything that they told you, like and everything you remember, and you'll start to remember a little bit more.
I like the
Um,
idea of doing that exercise and seeing if I remember more
yeah,
because I grew up not realizing that their part that they played in my life was significant.
that's
I thought we were just really good friends. And I was like, oh yeah, like I miss like, my friends from elementary school. It's like, no.
oh
Those friends of yours were a little bit more significant than you realized.
yeah.
I'd love it if more of the interactions that we had come back. Like if I wish I could have like a dream about it and remember
I
like
was kind of getting they might come to you in a dream, and it is like, let's see what they want to
I
say.
definitely have large capacity, I guess, for spiritual events and dreams.
That's so beautiful. I do too. Okay, so I feel like they're with you like all the time, and you can also invite them into your awareness more. Um, they're just saying like as you got older, you know, we become less open to that spiritual side of life, but you never really fully turned your spiritual side off. But it was like, the time as you got older, it was like there was less time spent in that space. But they'll be with you. I don't know if you've ever done automatic writing, but that's like they're kind of showing me like if you get a pen and paper or open a Word document, but I'm kind of seeing a journal and a pen and you just kind of sit and like ask their names and then ask if they have anything to share with you or any messages they want to tell you. It's really interesting. Um,
The Palladian thing was, wait, how do you say it?
well, I don't know. Everyone says it differently. I say Pleiadian. I don't
Pleiadian.
know. Maybe they were part of that. I'm not sure, but whoever walked in with this really bright, big energy, right, when we invited them was like really strong. And I do believe, I mean, there's a lot of souls that have incarnated here, they say, from with like star origins because of the time we're in on the planet. Do I know if the, I do not know if this is true. I've received downloads about it though, that like this is a time of a big shift and a lot of people are going to be awakening. And, a lot of souls that have chosen to be born here have lived much more evolved lives on other planets, or they have memories of lives on other planets. There's a lot of interesting people that do stuff about this, but I got a very strong like galactic um connection for you. What they're showing me again is they're showing me like a book turning pages. So like it's gonna just keep growing the way it's supposed to and like let the pages turn as you go through it and just keep staying aligned and it'll be exactly what it needs to be. Um, and they're showing me too, like as you do this work, whether it's with other side NDE or your personal work, it's like there's certain people who are awakened at the perfect time as it happens, like points of light being awakened because they're meant to hear your message. They're meant to hear what you're sharing. And it's like click, 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 click. A bunch of people wake up like through this work.
I want to take things to a more like personal level. One of the things that I am most clear about in
Hmm.
my life is the trajectory of my purpose driven
Yeah.
path that I'm on.
Yeah. Great.
Like I can't not believe what
Right.
you're saying because it's something that I feel before even putting words to. Like
Yeah.
I have this certainty that I carry with me every day that's like I know where I'm going without having to figure out like the how or the why or the what. I just feel that viscerally. Like
Beautiful.
but one thing I'm not entirely certain about is like my personal life.
Okay. Like relationships.
Yeah, I mean relationships, location of like where I'm supposed to be physically on the planet. I have options. I
You have
don't
options. You
know.
have, you're dating different people right now, or you have people that are interested?
It's not necessarily a decision of like, which person should I choose, rather like
Mhm.
the lifestyle that's going to better suit my path.
What they're showing me as you're talking about this is like, I mean, I can assume if this is the case with you because you're very beautiful, but like, it's not really hard for you to meet people. I think more you're intimidated to guys that want to date you. Like, it's like they will see you and like want to be with you. They're like showing me like people just sitting falling in your lap, like, and you have to. But what they're is that true?
I
They
mean,
just showed me a bunch of people like just like falling in your lap, like they're small, and you're like, oh, I don't know which one to pick like from here. But the most important one is like someone at your spiritual level. They're just showing me like you need someone at your level. Thank you
there
to your
there
angels, thank you to your angels.
there's definitely one that's in alignment with me and like on the same spiritual path. This person lives across the state.
And you live in Washington,
Washington, yeah.
Washington, and they live on the other side of the state.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And I feel like arranging our lives around each other would be very difficult.
let me tune in about that. I mean, how many times have y'all visited each other? Because it's kind of like showing me that y'all can keep visiting and deciding would it be worth the trouble for you. They're also showing me it's good for you to be rooted. You can also do your job anywhere. So that's like a blessing that you have. You can go anywhere, but you do need to be like in a grounded, rooted place, I think, for your spirituality to really flourish. They want you to be in a place where you feel like your heart is open and you can have connection to nature. Do you have that where you are now? I don't know where you live in
Not
Washington.
enough. Not enough.
Yeah. It's almost like
I've
that grassy knoll where you're able to communicate with your kid. They're just showing me this like place where you can be in nature and feel really comfortable and open. Have you thought about moving out of the state?
I've thought about moving to Idaho.
Oh, you're like the second person that has told me that in readings the last week or two. So that's
Wow,
interesting.
that is interesting.
Yeah, explore it. Explore it. They're just saying like when you move, it'll be an easy move and things will just kind of happen organically. So you'll know that that's like the right path.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Honestly, because my lease is up in a month.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Are you thinking of moving to Idaho in a month?
No, I don't know.
It's a lot. Moving is very hard.
it's yeah, I have
It's
no idea.
confusing.
That's why I'm asking. I'm like, I don't know what's going on in my personal life.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else they want to say. We can tune in more about your move, but I feel like we've gotten a pretty good reading. They're not going to tell you what to do, but if your lease is up, they're kind of saying there might be a friend you could move in with while you decide what you want to do next. Do you know if any of your friends? Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah, it's more like get your stuff packed up and like don't stress and go move in with your friend while you figure out your next moves. But I'm
Mhm.
hearing by the end of this year, like by the next few months, November, you'll know where you're going to want to go.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That actually feels true, like somehow.
And it might
I'm
be before
I'm
that, it might be after
receiving
that.
that too, I guess.
Okay, cool. Beautiful. Oh, that's your cat.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name again?
His name's Marley.
Marley.
I
Okay,
call him Mars though.
Mars. I love it.
Hmm.
So cute. Hi, Mars.
Yeah, he's on my lap right now.
He's so cute. Okay, well, I think it's gonna be okay. You're
Okay.
gonna move in with your friend. That's awesome. Okay, let's see if they have any closing messages.
Okay.
Just want to thank them for being here. Any closing messages? They want you to keep dreaming big and keep aligning with your soul path. You don't have to feel like you're on a fast timeline. Like it's not, you don't, there's no rush. You're doing exactly what you should be doing, and they're going to keep bringing you opportunities and chances for you to keep doing your work and aligning as you continue to keep your path aligned. Yeah. And I think the move is going to be easy. So they're just showing me like you have fun with your friend and like you'll find the next step pretty easily. Just like kind of let it all open up if that's what you decide to do. Oh yeah. The last thing is they're saying like write and like connect with your brother and sister childhood angel friends. So
Yes.
just continue to connect with them and write down like what you remember and also see if you can connect with them in automatic writing. And I can tell you more about how to do that later if you want.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yay,
That
that
was
was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah,
Jinx.
you're awesome. And I really want to know the names of your kid friends. And I'm like trying to think of what they could be, but they're not popping in my head, so you have to tell me.
I have to tell
No, you don't have to. Okay, was it like, is there an L name and a J name or like a
There's definitely L. Hold on. There's an L in
L's?
both of them, but it's
Okay,
not in the
okay, I got
beginning.
L. I
Oh,
got L.
let's like make a hangman like
Yeah,
chart.
I will get this. I mean, sometimes when I've gotten names, people are like, oh my gosh, like you just, and when you're doing readings like this, like a name will pop in your head and you just don't even know where it came from. And every time I've said it, I'm like so glad because people will know, they're like, oh my goodness, that's it. But like if I don't get it, then I just get fixated and I like kind of lose my
Yeah.
connection a little bit.
Yeah. I definitely getting fixated has a negative impact on your capacity to
Energy.
attract something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, especially when I go to a concert and I know that like I have a friend there and I want to find my friend, it's like
Yeah.
setting the intention of searching, I feel like continues the search. But like trusting that you're just
Just
going to bump
opening to
into
it.
your friend whenever the moment is exactly
Yeah.
right, you'll end up just finding your friend without even trying.
So tell me the names and later I will email you and you'll be like, no, but I'm gonna try. I'll
Okay.
see what I get later. I'll say
Okay.
some deep meditation.
So, shortly after this interview, I sent Rebecca an email asking her if any names had come to her. And I was only looking for the male name. Sure enough, she provided. And if I didn't think angel readings could be accurate before, she has made a believer of me. I was so excited to tell her that she was right that I couldn't even respond to her email and wait for a response. So I called her immediately. She didn't answer, but I left her a voicemail. And when I decided to include the voicemail in the final piece of this podcast episode, I was so overjoyed to find out that she still had it. So she sent it to me, and here it is.
Oh my gosh, Rebecca. Okay, so I just got your email, and I didn't even read the whole thing. I just my eyes went straight to the name Colin, and you were f***ing right. Excuse my language, but like, yes. After that whole conversation that we had about the names and you being super like cryptic about it, I didn't share it with you, and I honestly didn't actually expect you to get the name right, or maybe even at all. And out of all the names in the entire world, yes, Colin is the name. And wow, I'm blown away. Like I don't believe at this point I need any more confirmation that I think have just given me a certainty over this mystery that I have been facing for so many years of my life. So thank you for that, and I think you're amazing. And I'm actually headed out of town, so I'm probably not going to get your call if you try calling. But yeah, I hope you have an awesome weekend. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. If you loved this episode, please consider leaving a review. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so we don't lose each other. And just share the link with somebody who can appreciate this message. Blessings to you all, and I hope to catch you on my next episode.